Gig workers, often classified as independent contractors, are not typically included in traditional employment statistics. However, they do contribute to several other economic measures. Self-employment statistics. Gig workers are often counted in self-employment data, which tracks individuals who work for themselves rather than for an employer. Taxable income. Earnings from gig work are taxable and must be reported on tax returns. This includes income from part-time, temporary, or side work. Economic activity. Gig workers contribute to overall economic activity by providing services and goods, which can be measured through various economic indicators such as consumer spending and business revenues. Labor force participation. While not always counted in employment rates, gig workers are part of the labor force and can influence labor force participation rates. Yes, the rise of the gig economy and people working multiple jobs can indeed contribute to the phenomenon where unemployment rates remain low, even when there are widespread concerns about the economy. Gig economy impact. The gig economy provides flexible work opportunities that can help people stay employed, even if they are not in traditional full-time jobs. This can keep the unemployment rate lower than it might otherwise be. Multiple jobs. Many people take on multiple jobs to make ends meet, which can also contribute to lower unemployment rates. These individuals are counted as employed even if their economic situation is precarious. Economic perception. Despite low unemployment rates, many people may still feel economic strain due to factors like underemployment, stagnant wages, and rising costs of living. This can create a disconnect between official statistics and personal experiences. Distorted data. The gig economy can distort traditional economic data, making it harder to get a clear picture of the labor market. For example, gig workers might not be Gig work can significantly impact job security in several ways. Lack of benefits. Gig workers often do not receive traditional employment benefits such as health insurance, retirement plans, paid sick leave, or vacation days. This can make their financial situation more precarious. Income variability. Earnings from gig work can be unpredictable and fluctuate based on demand, availability of gigs, and competition. This variability can make it challenging to plan financially. Limited legal protections. As independent contractors, gig workers typically do not have the same legal protections as employees. This includes protections against unfair dismissal, discrimination, and harassment. Job stability. Gig work is often temporary and project-based, which means there is less long-term job stability. Workers may need to constantly seek new gigs to maintain their income. Economic vulnerability. During economic downturns, gig workers may be more vulnerable to losing work compared to traditional employees, as companies may cut back on non-essential services. Efforts are being made in some regions to improve the security and benefits for gig workers, but challenges remain. If you have more questions or need further information, feel free to You raise some important points about the challenges faced by gig workers, especially those working for platforms like Uber Eats. Here are some key differences and considerations. Differences between gig work and panhandling. Nature of work. Gig work involves providing a service or delivering goods. For Uber Eats, this means delivering food to customers. Panhandling involves asking for money or assistance without providing a specific service in return. Income source. Gig work. Income comes from the platform, e.g. Uber Eats, and tips from customers. While tips can be a significant part of earnings, there is also a base pay for each delivery (1 carat). Panhandling income is entirely dependent on the generosity of passers-by. Legal and social perception. Gig work, generally seen as a legitimate form of employment, though it lacks many traditional job benefits. Panhandling, often stigmatized and can be subject to legal restrictions in some areas. Challenges of gig work. Income variability. Earnings can be highly variable and depend on factors like demand, location, and time of day. Expenses. Gig workers often bear the costs of their tools and transportation. For Uber Eats drivers, this includes gas, car maintenance, and insurance. Lack of benefits. Gig workers typically do not receive health insurance, retirement benefits, or paid leave. Job security. Gig work is often unstable and can be affected by changes in platform policies or economic conditions. Economic impact. Dependence on tips. As you mentioned, a significant portion of income for gig workers can come from tips, which introduces uncertainty and can make financial planning difficult. Living costs. In states like Texas, where transportation costs can be high, the net earnings from gig work might not be sufficient to cover basic living expenses. Conclusion. While gig work provides a way to earn money and maintain some level of employment, it comes with significant challenges and lacks the stability and benefits of traditional employment. This can make it difficult for individuals to transition to more stable jobs, especially if they are relying on gig work to meet immediate financial needs. If you have You bring up some valid and thought-provoking points. The comparison between gig work and panhandling highlights several critical issues. Taxes and income. Gig workers, they are required to pay taxes on their earnings, which can reduce their take-home pay. They also have to cover expenses like gas, maintenance, and insurance out of pocket. Panhandlers typically do not report their income for tax purposes, which means they keep all the money they receive, but this income is often irregular and unpredictable. Government benefits. Gig workers often face challenges qualifying for government benefits due to their income being above certain thresholds, even if their net earnings are low after expenses. Panhandlers may be more likely to qualify for government assistance programs due to lower reported income and lack of formal employment. Work schedule and stability. Gig workers have some flexibility in their schedules, but often need to work long hours or multiple gigs to make ends meet. This can lead to burnout and a lack of work-life balance. Panhandlers can set their own schedules but face the uncertainty of not knowing how much they will earn each day. Economic and social impact. Gig workers contribute to the economy by providing services and paying taxes, but they often lack job security and benefits, making long-term financial stability difficult. Panhandlers rely on the generosity of others and may face social stigma, but they might have access to certain social services and benefits that gig workers do not. Conclusion. Both gig workers and panhandlers face significant challenges, but the nature of their work and the support systems available to them differ. Gig workers often find themselves in a precarious position, working hard without the safety net of traditional employment benefits, while panhandlers may have more access to government assistance but face other uncertainties and social challenges. If you have more questions, your concerns highlight some of the significant challenges faced by gig workers. While it's a strong comparison to say gig workers are slaves to corporations, there are certainly aspects of gig work that can feel exploitative. Here are some key points to consider. Job flexibility versus stability. Flexibility. Gig work offers flexibility in terms of when and where to work, which can be appealing to many. However, this flexibility often comes at the cost of stability and predictability. One. Stability. Traditional jobs typically offer more stability, benefits, and protections, which gig work often lacks. Earnings and expenses. Earnings. Gig workers' earnings can be highly variable and often depend on factors like demand, location, and customer tips. This can make it difficult to achieve financial stability. Expenses. Gig workers usually bear the costs of their tools and transportation, such as gas, maintenance, and insurance for delivery drivers. These expenses can significantly reduce their net income. Legal protections and benefits. Lack of benefits. Gig workers generally do not receive health insurance, retirement plans, paid sick leave, or other benefits that traditional employees enjoy. Legal protections. As independent contractors, gig workers often lack protections against unfair dismissal, discrimination, and harassment. Economic vulnerability. Dependence on tips. Many gig workers rely heavily on tips to supplement their income, which introduces uncertainty and can make financial planning difficult. Multiple jobs. To make ends meet, many gig workers have to work multiple jobs or long hours, which can lead to burnout and a lack of work-life balance. Efforts for improvement. Policy changes. There are ongoing efforts to improve the conditions for gig workers, such as new labor rules aimed at preventing the misclassification of workers as independent contractors. These changes could provide better legal protections and compensation. Conclusion. While gig work provides a way to earn money and maintain some level of employment, it comes with significant challenges and lacks the stability and benefits of traditional employment. This can make it difficult for individuals to transition to more stable jobs, especially if they are relying on gig work to meet immediate financial needs. If you have more questions or need further information, the comparison between gig workers and panhandlers highlights some important distinctions and challenges. Here are the key differences and considerations for their financial positions. Differences between gig workers and panhandlers. Nature of work. Gig workers provide services or goods through platforms like Uber Eats, often involving tasks such as delivery, driving, or freelance work. 1. Panhandlers rely on asking for money or assistance without providing a specific service in return. Income source. Gig workers earn money through the platform and tips from customers. Their income is subject to taxes and business expenses. Panhandlers receive money directly from passers-by, typically without reporting it for tax purposes. Legal and social perception. Gig workers, generally seen as legitimate workers, though they often lack benefits and job security. Panhandlers often face social stigma and legal restrictions in some areas. Financial position at the end of the year. Earnings and expenses. Gig workers, while they can potentially earn more, their net income is reduced by expenses like gas, maintenance, and taxes. The variability in earnings can also make financial stability challenging. Panhandlers may have lower overall earnings but do not incur business-related expenses. They might also qualify for government assistance more easily due to lower reported income. Access to benefits. Gig workers often do not receive traditional employment benefits such as health insurance, retirement plans, or paid leave. Panhandlers might have access to social services and government benefits, which can provide some level of financial support. Work hours and stability. Gig workers may need to work long hours or multiple gigs to make ends meet, leading to potential burnout and lack of work-life balance. Panhandlers can set their own schedules but face the uncertainty of not knowing how much they will earn each day. Conclusion. Both gig workers and panhandlers face significant challenges, but the nature of their work and the support systems available to them differ. Gig workers might have higher potential earnings, but also face higher expenses and less access to benefits. Panhandlers might have more access to government assistance, but face social stigma and legal challenges. Ultimately, who is better off financially at the end of the year can vary widely based on individual circumstances, location, and the specific nature of their work or activities. If you have more questions or need further information, feel free to ask. The Conversation. Small Business Trends. phys.org. Estimating the annual income of a panhandler can be challenging due to the variability in earnings. However, based on available data, here are some insights. Daily earnings. Panhandlers can make anywhere from $10 to $100 per day, depending on location, time, and other factors. Hourly rate. On average, panhandlers might earn between $8 and $15 per hour. Annual income estimate. Assuming a panhandler works 5 days a week and earns an average of $40 per day. Weekly earnings. $40 per day * 5 days equals $200. Annual earnings. $200 per week * 52 weeks equals $10,400. This estimate can vary widely based on individual circumstances and the consistency of their earnings. Comparison to gig workers. While gig workers might have higher potential earnings, their net income can be significantly reduced by expenses like gas, maintenance, and taxes. Panhandlers, on the other hand, might have lower overall earnings but fewer expenses and potentially more access to government assistance. If you have more questions or